You keep wondering why everything you touch eventually falls apart, why the relationships fade, why the motivation dies, why the same pain keeps finding new faces to wear. It's not fate. It's not coincidence. It's repetition, a loop you've been living inside for years, and you call it life. You rebuild with the same hands that broke you. You chase healing, but only the kind that doesn't hurt. You pray for peace while still entertaining chaos. You want a new beginning, but you haven't buried the old you. Every time you say, "This time is different," you bring the same mindset, the same fear, the same blind spots into a different season. And then wonder why it still rains. You keep mistaking movement for progress. But running in circles doesn't mean you're evolving. It just means you're tired in the same place. You call it trying again, but it's not trying. It's replaying. The same lessons, the same mistakes, the same version of you in a different disguise. You think you're starting over, but you're not. You're just looping deeper into the same story, a little older, a little angrier, a little more afraid. And here's the truth no one wants to tell you. Until you see the pattern, you will keep reliving it. It's not your enemies. It's not the people who left. It's not the world that keeps breaking you. It's your attachment to what's familiar, even when that familiarity is destroying you. You crave comfort more than change. You crave the illusion of control more than the chaos of transformation. So you keep running back to what you know, even when it's the very thing that's keeping you small. You think you're choosing safety, but really, you're choosing the slow death of your potential. And life will keep showing you the same pain until you learn to face it differently. It's not punishment, it's education. The same heartbreak in a different body, the same rejection in a different form, the same disappointment wearing a new name. It's not the world against you. It's life trying to wake you up, to make you stop, to make you look, to make you finally ask, what part of me keeps creating this? Because when you finally stop blaming the world and start taking responsibility for the pattern, something inside you cracks open, and through that crack, light enters. That's the beginning of awareness. And awareness, that's the first step toward freedom. You can't rewrite the story until you admit you've been reading the same page. You can't rise until you stop tripping over the same lie. So ask yourself, not, why does this keep happening to me, but why do I keep allowing it to? That's where the pattern ends. That's where the transformation begins. That's where the real you finally steps out of the loop and starts walking toward the life you were meant to live. Here's the truth, the one you keep running from. Growth is not beautiful. It's not poetic. It's not the highlight reel you scroll through for motivation. It's raw. It's violent. It's the process of being stripped of every lie you've told yourself, until nothing remains but who you truly are. You've been taught to glorify the grind, to chase results, to worship progress like it's proof that you matter. But you can't build something real on top of something false. You can't reach peace while you're addicted to pretending. You say you want truth, but truth demands blood. It demands that you stop performing. It demands that you look in the mirror and finally see the person you've avoided your entire life. The one who hides behind the smile. The one who's tired of being fine. The one who's been screaming in silence, begging you to stop lying about how okay you are. You think pain is the problem, but pain isn't your enemy. Denial is. Because pain tells you where you're wounded. Denial convinces you that you're not bleeding. That's why you keep collapsing. You refuse to confront what's rotting beneath the surface. You keep painting over the cracks, hoping no one notices how close you are to falling apart. You chase distractions, achievements, validation, people. Anything to avoid being alone with your own thoughts, because silence exposes truth. And truth doesn't comfort you. It confronts you. It points to your weaknesses and says, "Fix this." It shows you where you've betrayed yourself for acceptance. It reminds you that the life you want requires the death of the life you're still clinging to. And that's why most people never change. Because truth demands sacrifice. And comfort demands nothing. Comfort will let you stay average. Truth will force you to evolve. Comfort will keep you liked. Truth will make you misunderstood. Comfort will whisper, "Stay safe." Truth will shout, "Wake up." You can't serve both. You can't live for approval and live in truth at the same time. You must choose, because truth won't coexist with your excuses. It won't bend to your comfort zones. It will strip you bare. It will expose every fragile part of you you've tried to hide. And when it's done, when you've faced it fully, you'll finally stand on something real. That's the paradox. The truth that breaks you is the same truth that rebuilds you. The same fire that burns your illusions is the one that forges your strength. You will cry. You will lose things you thought you needed. You will question everything you believed. But one day, you'll wake up and realize you no longer flinch when the truth speaks. You no longer run from silence. You no longer need to prove your worth. Because you've learned the difference between looking strong and being strong, between pretending to heal and actually healing, between the life you show the world and the one that finally feels like yours. That's when the illusion dies and the real work begins. There's one rule that separates those who rise from those who keep collapsing. One rule that decides who transforms and who just talks about changing. Be loyal to truth, not comfort. That's it. Simple, ruthless, unforgiving. But you keep ignoring it. You keep chasing the easy road, the one that doesn't demand too much, the one that lets you keep your pride, your excuses, your false peace. You say you want growth, but what you really want is growth that doesn't hurt, change that doesn't cost you anything, healing that doesn't make you bleed. You want to be free, but only if you can bring your chains with you. That's not how it works. Truth doesn't negotiate. It doesn't meet you halfway. It doesn't care about your feelings, your fears, or your comfort zone. It will drag you through the fire until every lie inside you turns to ash. And that's the rule you keep breaking. You keep choosing comfort and calling it peace. You keep choosing distraction and calling it rest. You keep choosing denial and calling it faith. You lie to yourself so beautifully that you don't even notice it anymore. You've made a habit of it. A quiet self-sabotage dressed up as self-care. You say, "I just need time." But what you really need is courage. You say, "I'm waiting for the right moment." But what you really mean is, "I'm scared to face the truth." The truth that maybe you've been the one holding you back. The truth that maybe your healing is just avoidance in disguise. The truth that maybe your boundaries are really just walls built out of fear. That's the part no one wants to admit. That we cling to our suffering because it's familiar. Because it gives us identity. Because letting go means losing the story that made us feel significant. But the moment you stop protecting your pain, the moment you stop defending your limitations, everything begins to change. Truth will ask you to give up your comfort. It will ask you to walk away from people who feed your weakness. It will ask you to destroy the version of you that the world praised, because that version was built on pretending. You'll have nights where you want to quit, days where you doubt everything, moments where you'll wonder if breaking free is even worth it. And that's when the rule matters most. When it hurts, stay loyal to truth. When it's lonely, stay loyal to truth. When your old self begs you to come back, stay loyal to truth. Because truth won't always feel good, but it will always make you real. And being real, that's the beginning of power. The kind of power that doesn't depend on applause. The kind of peace that doesn't disappear when things fall apart. The kind of strength that doesn't need to shout to be felt. You want to stop failing? Then stop choosing what feels easy over what is right. Stop choosing comfort over clarity. Stop choosing illusion over integrity. Every time you do, you trade your potential for temporary relief. You sell your future for the illusion of safety. But here's the truth. You can't be comfortable and evolve at the same time. You can't be honest and still live a lie. You can't rise while clinging to what you should have released years ago. You want to change your life? Then stop breaking this rule. Stop running from what's real. Stop silencing your conscience just because truth is inconvenient. Because the rule never changes, only you do. And once you finally surrender to it, once you finally let truth win, failure no longer scares you. Because you realize failure isn't falling down. Failure is refusing to face yourself. You say you want to change. You say you're ready to evolve. But are you truly prepared to let go of who you've been? Because that's what real transformation demands. A funeral, a burial of your old self. The quiet, painful death of the identity that once kept you safe. See, you can't carry both, the person you were and the person you're meant to become. One must die for the other to live. But most people never make it through that death. They cling to the corpse of their old life and call it loyalty. They confuse familiarity for love. They mistake pain for purpose. You've worn your wounds like armor for so long, you've forgotten that they were never meant to protect you, only to remind you of what you needed to heal. But healing means surrender. And surrender means loss. Loss of identity, loss of certainty, loss of the illusion of control. And that's terrifying, isn't it? To stand in the ruins of your old self with nothing left to hide behind, nothing left to prove, nothing left to lose. That's why people stop right there, in the middle of their becoming. They say, I've come far enough. But truth doesn't reward halfway courage. It demands everything. It wants you stripped bare. It wants you emptied out. It wants to burn away every piece of you that was built out of fear, validation, and survival. It will take your excuses first, then your attachments, then your false sense of self. And when it's done, when there's nothing left but silence, you'll meet yourself for the first time. The real you. Not the version you performed for approval. Not the one built to please or to fit in. The one beneath all of it. Raw, trembling, unfiltered, true. That's who's been waiting for you to come home. But you can't reach that self without dying first. The death isn't physical. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's psychological. It's the death of every false belief that's held you hostage. The death of the identity that said, I'm not enough. The death of the mask that smiled when you were breaking inside. And you'll mourn it. Oh, you'll mourn it deeply. Because that version of you survived so much. They endured pain you still can't talk about. They fought to keep you alive. But their time is done. They were never meant to take you to the next chapter. They were only meant to get you here. So let them rest. Thank them for keeping you alive. But don't let them keep you small. Stand at the edge of that grave and whisper, I release you. Because the person you're becoming cannot be born in the same space the old you refuses to vacate. Something must die for something greater to rise. And when that death happens, when you finally let go, don't mistake the emptiness for loss. It's space. Space for new strength. Space for new peace. Space for a version of you that no longer flinches when life tests you. The death of the old self is not the end. It's the beginning of freedom. And once you've walked through that fire, you'll never fear destruction again. Because you'll know now, everything that burns was never truly you. After the death comes silence. The kind of silence that feels like an ending. But it's not. It's the stillness before rebirth. The pause between who you were and who you're becoming. At first, it feels like nothing is left. Your old beliefs, gone. Your illusions, burned. Your sense of control, shattered. You'll stand there, empty-handed, with no identity to cling to, no validation to chase, no noise to distract you from yourself. And it will terrify you. Because for the first time, you can't go back. The old life doesn't fit anymore. The old version of you can't survive in this new truth. This is the fire. The place where everything false disintegrates. And everything real begins. You'll feel like you're falling apart. But in reality, you're being remade. You'll feel lost. But that's only because your soul finally has space to expand. Every great rebirth looks like ruin at first. Every transformation feels like dying before it feels like living. But this is where you finally learn the secret. Power doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from walking through it and not flinching. The fire doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It burns away the layers of who you thought you were until what's left is something raw, something untouchable, something real. You start to realize you don't need validation to move forward. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You don't need to be understood to have peace. You become your own foundation. You become your own fire. The same things that used to break you now sharpen you. The same storms that used to drown you now baptize you in resilience. The same people who tried to bury you end up becoming the reason you learn to grow in the dark. You rise differently now. Quieter, stronger, wiser. You no longer need to prove your strength. You embody it. You no longer chase what you've outgrown. You bless it and walk away. You no longer beg for peace. You are peace. That's the power of the fire. It doesn't just rebuild you. It redefines you. And the world will notice. Not because you're louder, but because you've become unshakable. There's a calm in your eyes that wasn't there before, a certainty in your step, a quiet power that doesn't need to be announced, because it's felt. You don't fear losing anymore, because you've already lost everything that wasn't real. You don't fear failure, because you've seen what happens when you rise again. You don't fear pain, because you finally understand. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the proof that you're alive, that you're growing, that the fire is still working. And so you stop resisting it. You start embracing it. You walk through the flames willingly, because now you know what waits on the other side. Clarity, freedom, and an unbreakable soul. That's the rebirth. That's when the ashes stop feeling like loss and start feeling like liberation. You are no longer who you were. You are everything you were meant to become. And when they ask how you survived, you'll smile and say, I didn't. I transformed. Listen closely, because this is the part most people ignore. This is where everything either shifts or ends. The truth has been shown to you. The fire has burned you clean. But now comes the test that decides whether this was transformation or just another temporary high. Because truth without action dies. Fire without direction burns aimlessly. And if you walk away from this moment unchanged, you'll fall right back into the same cycle you swore you'd escape. The same habits, the same patterns, the same quiet desperation dressed up as normal life. You'll scroll again, numb again, pretend again, until one day, years from now, you'll look in the mirror and see the reflection of someone who almost changed, someone who almost rose, someone who almost became everything they were meant to be. Don't let that be you, because life won't wait. Time doesn't pause while you figure things out. Every day you stay in denial, the truth grows colder inside you, harder to reach, harder to wake. You're not running out of chances. You're running out of time. And make no mistake, life will test you again. It will tempt you with comfort. It will whisper, "Go back, it's easier there." It'll send people who remind you of your old self, situations that lure you back into your old patterns. And in that moment, you'll have a choice, to repeat or to rise, to keep chasing the illusion of safety or to stand in the discomfort of truth. If you go back, you already know how that story ends, with you drowning in the same excuses, comfortably stuck in a life that no longer fits. But if you rise, truly rise, you'll feel something most people never will, the weight of freedom. Not the kind that looks pretty on a poster, not the kind that's easy to explain, but the kind that comes with power and responsibility. Because once you've seen the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you've tasted what it feels like to live awake, you can't go back to sleep. You can't play small once you've seen what you're capable of. You can't fake ignorance once you've stared your demons in the face and survived. You can't go back to being normal because you've outgrown it. That's your blessing and your curse. But if you can hold your ground, if you can keep choosing truth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, discipline over distraction, you'll walk through life untouchable. Because no one can manipulate a person who's mastered themselves. No failure can break a soul that's made peace with falling. No storm can shake someone who's already built their strength in fire. So this is your line in the sand. This is the moment the story splits in two. One path where you go back to sleep, and another where you rise, no matter what it costs. You've been called to the edge of yourself, to burn the bridge back to who you were, to stop surviving and start living, to stop waiting and start becoming. And the truth is, no one can do it for you. Not me, not them, only you. So decide now. Will you keep failing the same lesson? Or finally learn the rule that changes everything? Be loyal to truth, not comfort. Because comfort is a slow death. And truth is the fire that will set you free. Rise. Not someday. Not when it's easy. Now. Because the world doesn't need another person pretending to be fine. It needs someone who's been through the fire and came back real. And that someone is you.